Oh. Look at this guy.
Yeah.
Perfect timing. My man Barry's in the house today.
Bernard.
Welcome, everybody, to episode number 20. We have a special guest. Actually, everybody knows this. I'll tell you a little secret. Actually, let me give you your intro first. So this is Barry from Gorilla Jack. He's a supplements owner. Here's a little history on this guy, which is going to be very interesting. He's a Polish folk dancer. Him and his brother have Baltic Brothers vodka. He rides a Soviet-era sidecar motorcycle. I'm not sure if many people are going to know what that is, but you can explain it. Of course, he's a dog dad to a dog named Jax. He's Mr. Poland 2005. This man dances with the Royal Winnipeg Ballet, and him and his brother, right, completed the Urbanathlon. Is that how you say it?
That is correct.
Urbanathlon in New York City. Everybody, welcome Bernard to our podcast. Yes! Did you know we had that many people?
No, no idea.
We keep the lights down low. Okay, first thing I'm going to talk about, Mr. Poland. I need to know exactly how you came to this title.
All right, so Mr. Poland is like, it's an interesting story because it's not something I wanted to do, but somehow I ended up winning it. It's one of those things you get talked into by your friends. So we were in Poland, and what that is our folk dance group goes to Poland every 3 years, and they perform at this festival. It's a festival of Polish folk culture, so groups from around the world travel in from different countries and experience and do Polish folklore. And there's about 45 dance groups from around the world. We go into this one town called Rzeszów, Poland, and it's like a 1 week long festival. So think of it, it's like the Olympics of Polish folk dancing. So you represent your country, you come in, there's a parade, there's flags, there's a whole deal.
Nice.
It's kind of pretty cool. And they decided in 2005 we're going to have a Mr. and Mrs. Poland competition.
Okay.
And our dance group was like, who do we choose? And kind of everybody in the dance group was like, oh, all right, Bernard, you do it. And I was like, oh, man.
So you're the go-to guy.
I'm the go-to guy. I'm the sheep led to slaughter here. And then I went up there with my cousin, and we were the Mr. and Mrs. representatives for our dance group. And then, there's 45 different couples that are going up and representing from each dance group. And then they kind of... everyone was kind of boring, right? Like when you go up and you're in like a kind of like a outdoor stadium setting, and everyone's kind of listening to your speech and what you're going to say, right? And I was like, my name's Steve, and I'm from Boston, and like they're all kind of talking like that. So I'm like, I'm going to change the game here a little bit. I'm like, hi everybody, my name's Bernard, and I like long walks on the beach and romantic sunsets. Yeah. I'd love to make you some dinner sometime.
Oh, nice.
But I don't know if I can cook for 1,500 people. Right? And things like that. So I think what it was a combination of that, and then they had a dance-off at the end, and they kept cutting couples, right? And they would put their hand over a couple, and if they cheered really loud, then they would keep that couple.
So audience participation.
And
you're good if the audience decides.
Yeah, so it was down to like 3 couples, and then they threw down a vote, and I think because of some of the vocal bravado that I gave to the mics and stuff, I think they chose me. So I think 20 dance groups out of the 45 chose me as Mr.
So you're the complete package.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, and afterwards it was just like everything, interviews, radio interviews, like it felt very celebrity-like, newspapers, the whole deal.
That's awesome.
Pretty entertaining, yeah.
Barry, how do I find you on Facebook?
On Facebook, Bernard.
B-E-R?
Yeah, B-E-R-N-A-R-D.
So another little interesting fact, and everybody, most people know who you are, right? And I know they do because every time I'm coaching, you come rolling in, the whole class, all the females are this. Barry's here. I lose them completely. Like, I need you to get in and get the hell out so that I can get their attention back again. Because you're 6'5" and you got a great butt. You got a great dude butt. So I always...
It's all that dancing.
It's all the dancing.
Polish dancing.
So which brings me to this. You dance with the Royal Winnipeg Ballet. Tell me about that.
Yeah, super cool. So what happened was the Royal Winnipeg Ballet has like segments, whether it's in Christmas, they usually have Ukrainians dancing for their Christmas segment, and certain dances have representatives of different countries. So in Swan Lake, they have Hungarians, the Spanish, and the Polish. So the head of the RWB there, head instructor, Mr. Lewis, he decided, you know what, I'm going to get the Polish folk dance group, the local guys, to do that segment, which is really cool because they gave us like 2 weeks notice, right? He came in, he just like watched everyone do a little bit of dancing. He watched a couple of like 45 minutes of our practice, and he like literally selected the dancers, and he's like, you're mine for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
And then we literally trained at the RWB, learned the dance, everything. It was like
So you must be a pretty good dancer.
Yeah,
all around.
All around, I do a decent job, right? And then so it was really
Do
cool.
you dance for hire? I think a lot of girls.
How do you think I got through university?
Okay,
Greenbrier, everybody.
Good to know,
Greenbrier.
yeah.
Do you know how to twerk? It's important around here. We're all a bunch of twerkers and
I
hula
learned to
hoopers.
twerk.
I'm
Big
more of
Mama
like
taught us.
I'm more like a slow twerker, like
Okay.
real feel the groove, kind of thing.
Like slow R&B stuff.
Yeah.
Pony,
Got it.
right
Got
to
it.
pony. I
Yeah.
bet you dance.
Right to
that.
pony. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So did you take anything different? So you were taught Polish dance at the Royal Winnipeg Ballet?
So no, actually, it's just more segmented. It's really ballet dancing,
Okay.
right? So all dances are rooted in ballet. Like, there's not a step in any kind of cultural dance where like doesn't have some kind of basis in ballet, right? So it's just kind of taking ballet, putting Polish twist on it, and then performing it. And it was just really cool to see the athleticism. I don't think people understand. Ballet dancers are some of the most athletic, crazy in shape people I've ever met in my life. To watch a guy on stage jump 4 feet in the air, land it perfectly, and walk off, and some of the girls are amazing. I do have to say, like, they would be like writhing in pain off stage, and the second they come on stage, they get on their toes and they just swan it out, dance, and come back off, and they're still in pain. But it was just amazing, that level of professionalism
Yeah.
and that dedication to their art was unreal.
So you've been doing the Polish dancing your whole life, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah,
from a kid.
since I was
and then you were picked up by the RWB scout who's like, I need you and your crew, and they taught you how to do a true ballet dance.
Yeah, it was a true ballet dance with a bit of a Polish twist to
Oh,
it,
yeah.
so.
How can we find that? We should link that at the bottom.
Got to find that.
Gotta find that.
performance. So when I was in grade 6, I actually had a scholarship to the Royal Winnipeg Ballet, so I took everything. And then probably about 5 or 6 years back, I wanted to try something different.
Yeah.
So I registered for ballet, like adult ballet classes. And I'll tell you, when I was in grade 6, I was kind of like the chubby kid, right? Like I always felt chubby. And then I went back and I was jacked, right? Lean. So did you actually wear the tutu or not tutu, but the tights and the
If you go onto
the
my
onesie?
Instagram, like if you go onto Gorilla JCKD Instagram, like there is actually photos of me in like the tights are insane. Like they go into places no one's ever gone before. Like because
I can't remember. Is it
You don't even wash those
or
parts.
what-
Can't
what-
get it in there.
it's usually
the
tights
shirt?
that go right up to your chest
Yeah.
level, like, and then you
But
put
doesn't the shirt clip?
yeah, it's like a weird jacket, and they had
A
to add
onesie?
more material for me because like I'm quite larger than the average ballet
And those
dancer.
aren't cheap.
No.
Oh, I remember spending almost $200 for the shoes.
Yeah,
and
but the
everything.
stuff that they gave us were like the actual costumes, and these costumes were so
Oh.
eccentric and so
Okay.
over the top. It was quite nice, and they're like real like dark burgundy, and they're very royal. Like you felt like a royal king walking around in this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they made you shave and everything. Like
Oh, yeah?
it's super serious.
I might have missed this. You might have told me. What was the ultimate performance for?
Swan Lake.
Swan Lake.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what that is, but now I'm curious.
Swan
to know.
Lake.
It's
the movie, right?
Yeah, it's just like the movie. It's a story of well, not quite like the movie.
Okay.
that
What's the movie
one's-
called?
Black Swan.
Right.
But yeah, it's a story of like white swans and the one swan turning into the black swan, right? And it's a beautiful ballet. It is quite amazing.
Do we have a big ballet culture in Winnipeg? Are a lot of
Huge.
people into it?
Yeah, huge.
Dance-
Royal Winnipeg
dance
Ballet.
is
It's
huge.
one of the best.
Yeah, I know where it is. We're looking at a place to shoot a video the other day, and it's right across the street. But I've never ever been intrigued by it, but except right now. Now I want to know what it is. But I do appreciate athleticism in any form. Just like there's a TV show on Netflix called Cheer. Have you seen this?
Yes.
Yes. It's about a group of I guess they're young people, teenagers, university. I guess I can't remember how old they are. And it's just their evolution into practicing and becoming the best cheerleaders to do this ultimate performance where they're like the reigning champions. So it's interesting. I really enjoyed it, and even the stories of everybody in itself was okay, but the athleticism is amazing. I can imagine it's probably
Yeah, it's just
the same thing.
that amount of dedication to your art, and then no matter what, I will perform. That is the amazing part of it.
So you're still practicing it now?
Yeah, we still do Polish folk dance. Well, not right now because of the situation, the
Right.
current situation. But yeah, we usually practice every Thursday and Sunday. We perform at Folkram every year. We're one of the original Folkram cultures and pavilions that were established. So
Yeah, I follow you on social media, so I know you're very proud Polish. I like it.
Absolutely.
I even see you guys wearing your traditional gear. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's good to do that.
We want to thank the audience for tuning in. As
Oh,
always,
you bet.
Mimi's always on and commenting. And
Hello, Mimi.
Pretty sure Umish is there. So, guys, if you have any questions for Barry, supplement related,
I'm
dance
here for you.
related, or anything embarrassing that maybe one of your viewers has out there, we always like to
Ask
put
away.
people on the spot. I'm sure he's open for it.
I'm down.
So you want to talk a little business while we're here? Actually, I'd really like to since
for
I
sure.
have you. So we talked a little bit off camera. Corona has impacted your business.
Yeah, like it's made everyone like figure out how to lateral, right? Like, so how do you make your business still a business in this time of, lockdowns and self-isolation and quarantining? So for us, it's just being as nimble and mobile as possible. So we're going to be updating the website very soon and making something called like a Gorilla Prime service. So what that means is like if you order by 2 p.m., you're going to get it that day. So that's our goal, to get it in your hands as soon as possible. And we're going to be doing a lot more virtual assisting. So if you have a question about supplements, you can house party us or direct message, and I'll walk you through it. I'll talk you through it. So if you want that experience of, because I think half the battle and the reason why people come into our store over any other store is the personal experience, is the touch, right? Where I'm not going to sell you anything. That's not the point. The point is to help you, and you're going to tell a couple other people, and they're going to come in, and that's how we've survived 15 years, right?
How are you going to compete with Amazon? When you everybody's going to go online. I feel like the pivot is, of course, going online. It's going to be the curbside drop off. It's going to be, for the most part, that's how it's going to be. How are we, myself, you included, how are we as small businesses going to compete with the Amazons of the world when we don't have that personal touch anymore? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, this is not a forever situation.
Yeah.
This is, we have to maintain and get through this moment. I think like Amazon, I think everyone assumes Amazon's always the cheapest, and that's not the case.
It's not.
No.
It 100% is never actually whenever I look into it now.
Yeah, if you look at like right now, I think people are taking an opportunity and they're raising their prices on Amazon, and like even before that, like it's never been the cheapest, right? So if you offer same day service, I think people do. They're looking for that support local button.
Yeah.
Right. So if you offer them the opportunity and the access, and you're loud enough. And like, then you do stupid things like, social distance, right? Like,
Oh yeah, we got that video. We were watching that earlier.
so like just do things like that just to kind of break up the monotony of like COVID this, COVID that. Like, well, let's have some fun. And with that fun, it brings attention to you.
Have you found that your customers are really trying to back you up? Like, are they calling and be like, I want to support you?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Like the amount of people, even like just from around the city, like some of the deliveries we've done is like deep into Transcona, and it's quite amazing. Like, we've delivered all around the city, and I'm super thankful.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Like anybody that picks up the phone, I think that's the different approach where like our father taught us, anybody that gives you a call, anybody that comes through your door, that's a thank you. Right. They don't have to go into your business. They choose your business. And I think that's always resonated with us. Like, we're happy for have anybody walk in through our door.
Yeah.
It's an honor. So we're going to treat it like that.
Was your father, or is your father, or was your father? I don't know if he's is he alive still?
Yeah, he's alive. He's living in St. Andrews, Manitoba, locked away, quarantining himself. He's been preparing. He's got a cold room,
I bet.
pickles and all that stuff.
True Pollack right there.
I
right?
would love to get a jar of something. Like, I haven't had that, so I'm half Ukrainian, right? So
What do you need? What do you want?
I need a jar of something. I love beets. If you can get me some beets.
I'll get you some horseradish beets. It's like a nice little
I love
topper.
horseradish.
You can put it on sandwiches. You can put it as like a side salad. I'll get you some horseradish beets.
We were
for
hoping you'd bring some stuff in today, actually.
I see.
Not gonna lie.
Your father, he's been an inspiration and influence to you? Your
Absolutely.
entire
My
life?
parents
I
are.
hear you speaking highly of them there.
My parents are our biggest influence. Like I've never met kinder people in my entire life.
What did he do?
So my dad back in Poland, he was kind of like the head of IKEA, kind of like Polish IKEA. So there's only really one place in communist Poland to get furniture, and that's my dad was the head guy there. And things got really, really bad in '81, and my dad and my mom decided, you know what, we have a 3-year-old, and we can't live like this. We can't live in lineups, waiting for vinegar and bread and meat. You get a 1 kilogram of meat allotment for your family for the month, right? So my dad's like, that's not a way to live. And I got family in Canada. I've got a bigger brother and older sister in Canada. So let's go there.
So you were how old when this?
I wasn't even born.
You weren't born.
My parents came over in 1981. I was born in '84.
And but Martin
was 3 years old.
Okay, so you never had to experience that. That's interesting, actually. That's almost a full circle. You think about it now. We open the store and people are lined up all the way to Rexall to line up for their whatever, meat, vinegar. Do you think it's going to come down to that? I mean, I personally feel like I'm an optimist on this. I feel that we're flattening the curve. I feel that we're on our way back to opening up slowly again, back to business as usual. Maybe not immediately, but certainly eventually. But what if we had to wait in lines for everything again. Can you for the first time for us, for our generation? Do you think we could get used to it, or do you think it would be chaos? Do you think there would be fights in the streets, blood in the streets? I feel like it might be.
You know what? I think like anything, I think cooler heads will prevail.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, like I hope that we go back to being able to sit with friends, you know, at the Forks, have a beer and enjoy. And I think as long as our civil liberties aren't trampled on, I'm 100% for self-quarantining and keeping safe and all that stuff. But we have to keep an eye on those civil liberties.
I think it's going to work well especially for guys like us that are extroverts, that when we see somebody outside, it doesn't matter. We just engage in conversation. So when we're standing in line and somebody's just standing there, it's just in our innate behaviors that we're going to start engaging with them. The next thing you know, you've got 10 people. And so instead of the cattle being herded through very quickly, now you got to, slow down, and you got to, right? Now you actually got to be in the moment versus always being in your phone and in and out and in and out and in and out. Next thing, right? We talked about slowing it down.
Yeah.
So that's what they're doing right now. You got to slow down. You got to wait in line. You know, like too bad.
Yeah, I hope so, and I actually hope that
there is no VIP line here, Rick.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're less.
If you're a frontline worker, you do. By the way, everybody gets. I just heard this too.
No.
If you're a frontline worker, front of the line at Costco, free coffee at McDonald's. So everybody's taking care of them. That's good.
I think that's the wonderful part. I think after this, we're going to take a lot of. I think it's going to really resonate. Who's the important people in the world?
And do you think we're going to remember? That's the biggest challenge. I feel like right now, support local business, frontline workers, you're our heroes.
Yeah.
How long does it last? Like if you go back to 2008, I know that you're probably down with all kinds of history from the economic crisis. How long did it take before we all went back and started spending too much money again? Nobody could afford their homes as it was, but we're right back into that housing bubble. Like, what is it going to take for people to actually smarten up and implement it for a long term in their life, as opposed to just being like, oh, that sucked now, but here's my credit card, let's buy stuff again, you know?
But I think that's where people like. You have to. That's. I think that's what this time is for. You take that pause and you figure it out, right? Like, the whole world's on pause. There's nothing happening. There's no NBAs. There's no NHLs. So take the time that you would have spent looking at that and look at yourself. Like, am I overspending? Am I overdoing it? Right? And you can really rein it in. Like, my Visa bill is like almost nothing this month, right?
Yeah.
So if you can rein it in and keep smart and build. Like, this quarantine will build some kind of system. It's going to be at least 22 days, so you can build a routine around it, right? So if you can build a routine of saving money, being smart, eating at home, doing all these things, maybe we're all going to come out of this better.
But you know, on the reverse side of that, so I know we've all been talking about we need to contract. One of my mentors, he said to me, why are you so focused on your bottom line? Why don't you just make more money and create more value in the world so that you can afford to do that, right? So a lot of people, I'm going to live off scraps. That's fine if that's how you want to live. But if you want to live in abundance, you want to go and buy something, and you have the income to match that. Now, I get it. People that don't have the income, that are living beyond their means, that's a different story.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
But the people that are creating more value, creating more earning capacity, then buy that, right? Like, don't shame somebody for driving a nice car or having a good house.
Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely. Like,
they earned it.
Absolutely, that person earned it. And but the thing is, I think that's where it is. I think that's all businesses have. Support local is going to be all about what value you bring to the table, right? So how are you different than big time franchise or whatever like that, right? So it's just like, it's bringing that value to the table, and that's really what you're selling at the end of the day. Like, you're selling your personality, yourself, your value, and the supplements come along with it, but you can buy anything on Amazon, right? So
being a guy from a franchise to now my own brand, or my own brand to a franchise to my own brand. Basically, a franchise is just, they go and try and find the solutions to the problems that you could be having, right? Versus when you're on your own, you create your own systems for the problems that you have. So really, that's the differentiation between the two, right? I mean, if I go to, they're all like, this No Frills is, I know the guy, I know the owner, but they're a franchise. And so what the franchise provides them with is they're out there trying to find solutions. Now, you might not, depending on your level of head, right?
Yeah,
so if you're a creator, if you like to have things developed a certain way, you like to have certain types of people in your organization, then the franchise model is not for you, right? But if you're a person that you just want to go in and maybe just like, you know, you don't really know what's going on and you need somebody to tell you exactly what to do, then that's basically what the franchise model is. And that's just my perspective from both ends.
And even from the marketing standpoint, like you guys are good on social media. You guys have a lot of creation. You guys got good videos. You guys have funny videos, and there's always a story in your story. So personally, I feel like you could certainly compete, if not be better than any of the franchises for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Most people, they want a business, but they don't know the first thing about it, so they just basically buy themselves a job, call themselves a business.
And it often doesn't work. Like I've seen a lot of, just in the gym business, I've seen a lot of people that had no fitness background, or they're just maybe not of the right age, right? Like I know guys that have fitness backgrounds but no business backgrounds, but because they're so young and like, you know, like they'll work 12 to 16-hour days, no problem. They'll find a way to make it through. And if you don't have a fitness background, then if one day, you know, one coach doesn't want to show up, then how are you gonna who's gonna lead that session, right? I know a girl, she has five gyms in Texas, and one day she had like 8 trainers quit all in the same day, so she had to like overpay people to go and run the sessions because she couldn't do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
How did you start Gorilla?
That was my next question.
Yeah, how did you start? When was this?
So we originally, my brother launched an online pharmacy in like 2002.
Okay.
2001, 2002. Yeah. So he launched an online pharmacy with my cousin Vic. And
I think everybody was launching pharmacies back then.
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah, because it was like online pharmacy selling drugs to Americans. Because what they're doing, like the American prescription situation was insane. Like they're paying $600 for something that would cost $60 in Canada.
Yeah.
Right. So we're helping people and making money. Right. So then eventually they sold that off, and part of that business was selling supplements on that website. Right. So and then we kind of lateraled it into like we're sitting there drinking Heinekens, going, "What are we going to call this thing?"
Yeah.
And
these are always the best stories when you come up with the name.
And, you know, where it was going to be like Captain Muscle and all this kind of weird stuff. But then we're like, that's kind of douchey, right? So we're like, what's going to resonate with people? So we kind of like took it back to our childhood of like, what characters do we like? Well, it's got to be big and muscular. So like the Hulk, right? So the Gorilla Jack is shaped like the Hulk. He's got Daffy Duck's hair. He's got Marvin the Martian's
Who
shoes.
came up with that logo? Your brother?
No, it was a combination of we kind of like,
But
we all sat
designer.
there.
Like you guys are
my buddy Bart.
Okay.
So my buddy Bart is like he's a graphic designer. He works at an imprint store, but he's an amazing graphic designer. Like one of the most talented guys I know when it comes to drawing anything. And like it was just a combination. We kind of gave him everything we wanted. We wanted it to look like a Ninja Turtle because that was like our favorite cartoon. So we kind of blended all of our favorite cartoon characters together so it would resonate with people. So when they saw Gorilla Jack for the first time, oh, I've seen him before. No, you haven't. It's just a combination of all your favorite things. It's that principle of like 20% of something. You know, as long as it's memorable and resonates with people of something they know of, you'll sell your product a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So let's ask the audience, anybody that's started a business, let's see some of the business names that you've put out, maybe some that you've rejected, some that you've...
Mr. Muscle was...
Mr. Muscles. I mean, before we were Fit Club, we were Fit Body. Before Fit Body, we were No Limit Training. And the problem I had with No Limit Training, number one, so back then that the guys were old enough to remember who Master P is. I'm not sure if you remember who that is. Yeah. Make them say, if you know what I'm talking about.
No.
So he's a rapper.
Okay.
So every time they would say No Limit, they'd, like it was just, it was funny, but not funny because
I'm supposed to know what you're talking about.
Take
That
pride in
example
your
right
day.
there.
Exactly. You just say that. Make them say, and everybody would say it. So No Limit Training, people would say with No Limit. And then NLT was an acronym that just all the hockey guys started calling us. And then but it just, nobody knew what NLT was. So we kept getting called No Limit Fitness or NLT Fitness, NLT Fit for Life. There was just a complete brand disorganization, right? And so that's kind of how we came to Fit Club. It's short, sweet, says exactly what it is. You're in the club of family-like, you know what I mean? People that are all like-minded. And I think that's one thing that Gorilla Jack's, what you guys do really well is...
Gorilla Jack. Right?
Jack or Jax?
Jack.
I know.
It's not a plural.
Jax?
It's not a plural.
Well, there's 3 of you.
Yeah, but no, it's just there's a Gorilla Jack, right?
I always put Gorilla Jacks on the shipping label. Goes to him, he's like, "We know it's you, Rick, because you're the only one who puts Gorilla Jacks."
I swear I thought it was Jax.
No, I didn't put my name on it. I didn't know that I'm supposed to put my name. I just ship it to them.
So that's the one thing is that you guys always make friends feel like family. So like your whole stories are my buddy this. We were drinking Heinekens. My brother and my cousin, right? So it's like you guys are all intertwined, and that's why we've been doing business for
Yeah.
so long. Like
We
I
even
had
went to the
offers,
same high
and I'm
school.
like, no,
Like-
yeah, exactly.
St. John's.
Yeah.
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 Nice.
Good times.
Yeah, but how old are you? You said 84.
I'm 84, so I graduated in
2 younger
2002.
than me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So let's pivot over to your other business.
Yeah.
I know you guys have a passion for this one, and it involves alcohol. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You don't make it. You just make great mixes for it.
No, we do make it. No, everything's made in house here.
Oh.
So what it is, we long time ago we made friendships with the first grain to bottle in Manitoba. So what that means is they're the first producer and distiller of grain alcohols in Manitoba in a very long time. It's Capital K Distilleries on Dublin Avenue, and we made really good friends with the owner there, Jason. Super nice guy. And he's an immigrant as well, so we had a lot of relatables.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kind of started talking about stuff, and he's like, well, you guys make really good mixes and stuff. Like, we make these pre-infusion pouches, so you take your alcohol, you throw it into a bottle, you pour in our pouch, let it infuse, strain and serve, and you make ready-made cocktails.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, these are so tasty, we should make them ready, like, flavored vodkas. And I was like, yeah, we're in agreement. So we took our top 2 flavors, and took about 11 to 12 months of approvals and everything. But yeah, we recently rolled it into the MLCC right in the height of this COVID crisis.
Perfect. Nice.
So
I wish we had a bottle here. I'd like to see what it looks like.
yeah, I should have brought one.
So what's it called?
It's called Baltic Brothers. So we have the Manitoba Mule, which is a ginger, hibiscus, maple, and lime infused vodka.
Okay.
And we have the Baltic Bison, which is our family recipe. It's 4 generations old. That's the apple, cinnamon, honey, and bison grass infused vodka.
Wow.
So they're basically flavored vodkas that are made for easy cocktailing. So you
Yeah.
take 1 ounce of our product, add either club soda or ginger ale, and it's done. Right, so it's easy going drinking, not high calorie, super tasty.
Yeah. The last time we talked about this, I was at a farmer's market downtown in the Exchange District. I saw you guys there. You didn't have this infused vodka yet. You were just selling the flavoring that you did it yourself,
Yes.
right? Well, that's good. So you've grown in that last year.
Yeah,
You've
no,
done
we
these-
like Baltic Brothers has really grown because it is quite a passion, right? It's coming from family history. Like my great grandfather used to make vodkas for the nobilities of Poland, right? And then just one of those things, right? It's just grown out of that and all those recipes and family recipes. And any family event, people would have like this uncle would bring this kind of infusion, and that uncle would bring this kind of infusion. So it's just like that combination and taking all that, and all we want to do is sell a seat at our family table. That's kind of like we're selling that feeling, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
So people would be like, how does that relate to fitness? You're on a fitness podcast, business podcast. You sell supplements, but how does vodka align in that?
I think it relates to life, right? Like at some point in time, culture, right?
Yeah.
Like my heritage is my life, and this is a huge part of my heritage, but it's also part of everyone's heritage of just like relax. Like you don't have to be perfect. Like yeah, hit it on the head. Go do it. Go hit your fitness goals. But like you're allowed to have a whiskey if you want. Right?
Jerome, what's the Filipino drink?
What's that?
What's the Filipino drink? What do Filipinos drink?
For
Back
what?
home. Back home.
Back home?
Yeah.
I don't really
You know what the Ukrainians drink? It's called homebrew, and we make it in the river behind Grandpa's house.
So how
That's
does
what
that
it
work?
is.
You make in the river?
In the river. Yeah, homebrew.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Yeah, for us, the biggest thing is like, so that Baltic bison is what we call a starka. And a starkas were like, when your child was born, you take like this huge oak barrel, you char the inside of it, you throw in this white dog, like this clear, super high grain alcohol, and you throw in all these different flavorings and all that stuff, and you seal that up, you bury it 15 feet down.
Yeah.
And when that kid was married, you'd pull it back up and you'd have it at the wedding, right?
Yeah.
So that's the family tradition. That's where it comes from, right?
Yeah, that's just like us too. When I was a kid, we would go down to the river with Grandpa, and we would clean out old jugs with rocks. And he had mash in a barrel somewhere in a river. Everything's hidden. And this no longer happens. It ended with my grandpa passing away. But yeah, we would hide this homebrew in different places, and it was interesting.
So does it get you lit?
Oh, it's great. It's straight rocket fuel. Like you
That's
can
rocket fuel.
fly planes.
I think I've
using
had
this
it
stuff.
before.
Yeah, it's like 65% probably.
Yeah. Yeah. So and
That's a light one.
most people who try it, I don't know how yours is, but most people who tried ours was just like, this is awful. This is awful. But if you have that bloodline running through you for whatever reason, you like it. But yes, you're right. At all the weddings and all the big events, you always bring out the whole bottle.
Yeah.
And you got to go for the walk with Grandpa, and he takes you to the back 40, and you find this bottle in the middle of a field, and you don't even know how it is.
Really?
But yeah, it's cool. It's a cool little tradition that we had. I'm assuming you had.
Yeah, and it's just something
similar.
fun, right? Like you sit down, you resonate. It's not about drinking a lot; it's about drinking something of quality,
Yeah.
right? So you sit down with your friends, and you're like, "Wow, I'm actually sipping on something that you can talk about,
Yeah.
you can chat about.
Yeah.
It has levels to it."
I agree with that completely. We don't drink, but we're not here to bash alcohol. That's not it at all. But I agree with you. we try to be pretty perfect with respect to our health and fitness. But yeah, you're right. I do enjoy having, like a McDonald's burger once in a while or whatever. And I feel like, you need, a lot of people would hit us at first and say, enjoy life for a little bit, like have some French fries. And I would always fight it, right? I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But I was also on a different part of my journey. So I feel like living life is good, but it has to match your goals, right? So when I was extremely overweight, yes, of course I wanted to eat hamburgers, and yes, of course I wanted, but I didn't allow myself to as much because I had a goal. But once you get to that goal, then sure, then go ahead and open up a few other things and enjoy life. And if your thing is alcohol, then have a Baltic Brothers vodka or whatever, right? So, but I agree with you. Lifestyle, right? So
it's
that's
all
how it
about
wraps
because
together.
life's short, right? Like enjoy, like. Make it an event.
But we don't want to say that too big, right? If you say that, they're like, well, Barry said enjoy life. So I'm going to go have a bottle of wine with the mixer of vodka that Barry gave to me, with the burger that Rick recommended. Do you know what I mean? And then they just mash things up, and it's like, well, today's Tuesday.
It's not a license to go willy-nilly on it, right? Like the thing is, it is also like a treat, right? Like people don't understand, like if you're going to eat pizza on a Friday night, that's a treat. So adjust yourself accordingly. Like be responsible to yourself. Like I treat every calorie like $1, right? So if I have $2,000, 2,000 calorie dollars to spend, and I'm going to smash a pizza, I make the according adjustments, and I'm eating water and almonds all day so I can have that pizza. But you have to have the willpower to adjust.
Put yourself on a food budget.
Yeah, put yourself on a food budget, right? Because like, if you overspend, you're overspending, and overspending means a bigger waistline, right? Like, and that's what
That's a great way to look at it.
And if we're talking about living more in abundance, well, if you want to eat more calories to justify everything that you're putting in, well, it's going to be a grueling task. So some people have to work longer hours to make more money. Some people have to spend more time in education. Well, it's like, if you want to eat more calories, well, are you putting more time in the gym? Are you lifting heavier? What about the calories that you've eaten throughout the day
or
throughout
free.
the week?
Yeah, like, nothing's for free. There's a give and take for everything, right? So if you want that 2,000 calorie pizza, where are you going to take from?
Yeah.
You got to earn it. You got to earn that.
If I do a pizza like a za, right? That'll probably be the only meal that I'll have in the day. But I've built up the discipline to be able to do a 22-hour fast, right? So if people want to be able to just have that, most people, that's all you can eat.
And the thing is, and don't smash it all at once. That's the other misconception, right? Like, so if you're going to pick up a za, I think za is great. Like, you can pick it up and you can have 2 slices. And then a little bit later, have another 2 slices. So, like, spread it out a bit too, right? Because calorically, all at once is a troublesome thing too, right?
So, speaking of earning it, how do you work out? And how did you get that great booty? Every guy wants to know that one.
The booty is all Polish folk dancing based. Like we
gotta
do
incorporate
deep
that
squats,
here.
deep squats, like since I was 5 years old, right? Like I think what it is, I'm a huge proponent of, like, you don't have to do crazy heavy weight. I've done bodybuilding. I've done all that stuff. When people tell you I need a gym that has 150 pound weights, they're absolutely lying. Yeah, right. Like you can't even prove it otherwise, right? Like a basic amount of weights. I've won a provincial bodybuilding title for classic tall bodybuilding. I never lifted anything over 85-pound dumbbell in my life.
You're a big guy,
and I'm a big dude.
Yeah,
I think it's all in the control of the weight and how you use it and how you use your exercises to get the size and whatever you want. Like, there's a time and place for. I'm a big proponent of like barbell work, like, lifting deadlifts and things like that. But like, you don't need absolute crazy ass heavy weight. Everything you have at home, you can build a body with.
Unless that's your goal, is to just be super strong, then go ahead and just go and lift a bunch of heavy weights. Yeah. Right? But, okay, so let me ask you this. What is your rule? So people say it's 90-10 nutrition to working out, or 50-50. Like, what is your kind of like percentage of that number? Food to working out.
I think food is like the number one thing, right? Like it's I don't know what kind of percentage I'd put on it, but like it'd be definitely in the like 80s. Yeah, because like you can work I've seen guys at the gym, they kill it. Like they are killing it every day. You go to the gym and you see them like just murder themselves, and they look exactly the same. Even my Manitoba Hydro guy, he's a bigger dude. Yeah. That guy walks probably 12 hours a day. Yeah. But he's not losing weight because like you have to adjust your food intake. Your food intake.
We've seen that here.
Yeah, so your food is everything, right? You see people killing it. Yeah. Right? But if you're not fueling your body correctly, you're running on the wrong stuff.
Well, if you're going to be working out all day, and you got I know people that do 4 or 5 workouts, plus they do extra walking, plus they have active jobs, and they don't lose any weight. They look exactly the same as it was. So like if your goal is to actually have some type of body transformation, then you have to match it with what you're eating. Right, like all that working.
I think the effort has to be in all points of life, right? Like you
time.
have to your diet, your exercise,
Recovery.
your supplementation, your recovery, sleep. You have to put in the effort everywhere. Because if you're sleeping 3 hours a night, but you're eating perfect and you're working out perfect, no amount of anything will help. That recovery is just as important, right? Like how are you going to rebuild that muscle? Well, in the recovery component, we sleep for 8 hours for a reason.
I think it all becomes relative. Once you start to practice proper nutrition, your sleep gets a little better. Once your sleep gets a little better, your recovery is a little better. Like you just have to implement something, and eventually, I feel things improve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sleep can be tricky. I feel like a lot of people, whether they're completely unhealthy or extremely healthy, there's a challenge with sleeping, and we actually discuss that once in a while. But all the other points that you made, I feel like that's what you got to do is start with one, and everything else just kind of works.
Well, what I'm saying, don't limit yourself, right? Like what I'm saying is like, if you have the ability to try to get 5, get your 5.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If you have the ability to get 8, get your 8. But don't like just stay up, eating and watching Jack Ryan on
another episode,
another one. You know, right? Well, like, and everyone does it, right? But that's the problematic thing. Have that discipline to go to bed, right? If you have the ability to sleep.
Yeah. You sleep well?
I sleep great.
Yeah.
But that stems from my grandma too, of like all your worries are at least 6 to 8 hours away. You can't change anything at 3 a.m, right? So that's a big thing. And that really resonated with me. She was a worrywart, right? Like she would worry about everything, but her thing was like, when you're sleeping, that's your time. Like, why are you letting the world get in on your time?
So how do you shut it off?
Yeah, I fluff a pillow. I do something that kind of like gives it like that final signal, whether it's turning off the lights. I'm not sitting on my phone before I go to bed, right? I just kind of sit there, fluff my pillow, relax, think about how wonderful everything is, that is going well in my life. So focus on the positive and kind of really focus on the positive segments of your life and just try to go to bed.
I feel like that gratitude thing is a thing.
Yeah, it is.
A lot
You
of
have
people.
to.
Yeah. All kind of different aspects of the negativities that you show gratitude or you're grateful, and all of a sudden it kind of puts things back into perspective. Brings you
always
back down,
hunt
right?
for the good, right? It's super easy to feed that negative wolf, right? Like, and that negative wolf will take you down to Fat Town and all those places, right?
the
misery and discomfort and all that stuff. But if you feed that, find the positive. Where is the good in this situation? Because they're always going to be good, it's not always going to be raining, right? Like
one thing I do in the morning is I write down 5 projected wins for the day.
Yeah.
So I have 5 things that I look forward to. And I tell you, I struggle with that, right? I'm not a negative guy, but I'm more about, I can find what if there's a problem with something, I find the problem. I don't look at what was good about it. Do you know what I mean? I have a hard time saying, Rick, that was a great session today. You did these 5 things awesome. Here's the 2 things you need to improve on. I'm like, here's the 2 things you did well, just because I have to tell you that. And here's the 5 things that we should improve on. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just the way my brain works.
But you're hard ass on yourself. That's nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, it's okay to be hard on yourself. But always like take time to breathe. Find the good. Right? Like I'll be driving with my dad. Somebody cuts us off. I'll be like, oh. My dad's like, what are you getting mad at?
Yeah.
Obviously, the guy's in a rush. Yeah. So let him cut you off. Who cares?
He's having a baby. Can we rapid fire some supplement questions to you?
Sure.
Because I wrote them on here. Okay, so let's just go. Number 1, how is protein made?
So it's usually microfiltered, right? So they take when they make milk or in cheeses, right? So there's the whey on top and the casein at the bottom. So casein is slow digesting protein, and the whey is the film that sits on the top when they're making the cheese. So they gather that whey and they dry it out, and then they microfilter it, right? So in the microfiltration process takes it from a blended protein or a concentrate protein into an isolated protein. And what the difference is, I think that's a huge misconception amongst people. It's like, well, I take isolate and I take whey. That's the same thing, right? Like, so what it is, it's whey concentrate or a blended form of concentrated protein and isolate protein, and then you have whey isolate, and whey isolate is just isolated from things like lactose, fats, cholesterols, and stuff like that. So people that have any kind of like lactose issues and stuff like that, that's the biggest thing. I see a lot of people are switching just straight to vegan because they have lactose issue. Well, there's a lot of whey isolates that are about 98 to 99, almost 100% lactose free, which are a wonderful option too, right? So don't just automatically jump on a vegan protein thing, because maybe whey is a better option for you. So
what is the difference between vegan and, like, I love the vegan?
Yeah, vegans are amazing.
Taste, but I find that, like, I get gas.
Yeah, so vegans are usually like taken from some kind of plant form, right?
Pea
so they're pea proteins, chickpea, like lentils, things like that. So the protein's taken from multiple sources. And the reason overall, like, I love vegan protein. Don't get me wrong, but whey protein is a bit superior in the fact of like it's a full, complete amino acid profile. Whereas like with vegan proteins, like they have to take it from usually multiple sources to get a full spectrum, right? And like, flavor profile wise, like whey protein's always going to be a little bit smoother. Right, but if you have dairy sensitivity in general, like if you have a dairy issue, then yes, steer away from whey protein. But if it's just a lactose intolerance, then an isolate might be the option for you.
Okay. Yeah, I just drink protein powders for just as a snack out of enjoyment. I don't consider them a meal or anything like. I'll put down 3.
It's a wonderful, it's a wonderful in between.
Eating candy,
yeah, it's a wonderful in between. I like the flavors on them too, right? Like they're usually a lot of them are now sweetened with stevia and things like that. It's quite nice, and like you have something chocolatey.
Yep.
I like throwing it in with my oats in the morning, right? Like instant oats, shake it up, kind of drink it. It's a little something flavorful. Even like low sugar cereals are great too, right? Like if you're really on the go and you want something like some cornflakes and things like that, you get some crunch in there. Yeah. Throw in like a nice vanilla. It kind of tastes like an ice creamy bowl.
It's a milk enhancer.
That's not a bad idea, actually. I had cornflakes last night. I didn't think to put any protein powder in it. I'm going to do that.
Even, cornflakes. Even like that new coffee that everyone's trying to make.
You and Jet.
Well, even that new coffee that everyone's trying to make, like that instant coffee cream on top. Throw in a little bit of protein in there.
Yeah.
Like
how bad is that for you though? Like I haven't never kind of listed
the ingredients. It's not bad at all. It's like
it's sugar.
It's like a tablespoon of sugar.
Okay.
It's a tablespoon of instant
So what's
coffee.
this called first, so everybody knows? Because I've seen this.
I'm mispronouncing it. It's like a Daolong or something like that. It's I believe it's Korean in origin.
Yeah.
Like don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's like a way of frappeing the ingredients of like a little bit of, I think it's hot water, instant coffee and sugar into like a cream that sits on top of your milk. So you put this cream on top of your milk. That's kind of what you drink. And I've tried it with a little bit of protein, a little bit of chocolate protein.
Yeah.
It's even better, right? Because like there's a bit of like thickening agent to the protein. So if you want that real rich, thick, nice consistency to it, I recommend throwing a tablespoon of protein.
So our viewers, how many of you have tried this Daolong? And if we're saying it right or wrong, let us know.
Correct.
Put in the comments. Daolong. How many of our viewers out there?
It's like the newest thing, right, on Instagram. Like, and after this, I think peanut butter bread is the next thing.
Tell me about this peanut butter bread.
Yeah, that's like a thing. Like, so everyone's kind of trending onto things. So the coffee thing was like TikTok was. TikTok is a huge thing, right? So you can see this on TikTok, you can see this on Instagram, and people are going through trends of recipes, like what to make next. So I think peanut butter bread is the thing I've seen is like popping up as the new thing, and people are making basically it's a bread loaf that tastes like peanut butter, right? So it's like you're eating cookie bread.
Okay.
That sounds too good, actually.
So next question is about fat loss supplements.
Yeah.
Okay. Like we use Leaner here. I like Leaner because it's a nice blend of everything. I call it more of a weight management supplement than I do a fat loss supplement. I don't really. Is there really any fat loss supplements out there? First of all,
it's a combination of everything, right? So you're taking these metabolism boosters, and that's what I like calling them because they will boost your metabolism, right? With the caffeine, the ingredients that are in there, it will cause a metabolism boost. But it's like I said, it's a tripod, right? Exercise, diet, supplementation. So you have to do that component, right? Like, you know, if you're eating Burger King and you're not working out, but you're taking a fat burner, it's spinning your tires, right? So give yourself all the opportunity to succeed, right? Like, why would you do 2 out of the 3 when you could do 3 out of the 3 to actually reach your goal? Because if your goal is to reach your goal, then go for it, right? Like, do it. Like, everyone knows what a burger tastes like. You know what pizza tastes like, but what do abs taste like, right? Like, go for that. Go one time in your life, reach your maximum human potential.
Yes, get your body fat below 15.
Yeah, like what is your actual potential?
Yeah.
And then, you know, go from there. Like, just try to hit it once.
That would be a great segue into the whole live your life, right? Enjoy things like we talked about, but every once in a while, cut all of it out and go for the abs. Find out what your abs taste like. That's actually a good, I like the way you worded that.
Yeah, because it's like everyone's like, well, if I can only just have this bacon. You can live without the bacon. There's people that have never had bacon in their life. Right? You can live with all these things, and we're learning that in quarantine. You can survive.
You
can survive
don't
without,
need to eat out every day.
You don't need to be going to Earl's every day.
Starbucks.
You don't need a Starbucks. You don't need anything. You don't need all this. It's very minimalistic what you actually need to survive. And if you are grateful for what you have and you make a right approach, I think you can benefit a lot from
Mhm.
it. Like that's why I think there's an opportunity sitting here in this quarantine kind of world of like, you can come out of this with make yourself a game plan, like, and how you're going to come out of this stronger, bigger, faster, stronger.
What would you say the number one thing to focus on while we're doing this? Or I shouldn't say the number one. What are a handful of things that you think people can be doing right now in order to come out of this 10 steps ahead before they went in?
I think prioritize what's important to your life, right? Like, fitness. I think people are realizing fitness is a big thing. I think people are realizing family is a huge thing. It's the first time I've heard like people we're actually using the dining room table. Like that's a wonderful thing. I think that's one thing we can take away from this quarantine situation of like families are getting together. They're going for walks. It's amazing. I've never seen more people walking in my entire life.
Do those uncomfortable skills too. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Like, so for me, I'm not a handy guy.
Yeah.
Right. I think we all know that. And I hate doing housework and all that kind of stuff. Right. Like I would rather pay somebody and make that
Blue
money.
jobs.
I could write an email and make that money back in, you know what I mean? That would pay for a whole month of cleaning. That's how I look at things.
Yeah.
Right. But now I have the time. So, yesterday I'm just picking up the mop. Right. I mopped 3 times since Sunday. You know what I mean?
So
'Cause
that
our
means
kids
3
just make
times
a
in your
huge
life.
mess. So I'm thinking about, yeah, exactly. So I'm thinking about how can I support my wife more, right? And like right now during these times, if she's at home with the kids all day, she's teaching Jet all these things. So I'm like, okay, pick up the mop, go sweep. So now when I see a mess, now it's easy, right? Like at first I was like, oh, why am I doing this? Come on, quarantine. I was like this close to calling up our cleaner. Like, can you just come over? I don't care what you got. Like, I'm like, no, we're not doing it. You're just gonna clean it. I've done that. I've cleaned my fish tank. I've developed a system for it now that it's not uncomfortable anymore. I hated cleaning my fish tank. Now the thing is spotless. Like, I think a lot of people can now sharpen their tools that they've been denying for a very long time.
You always
so
find
busy.
excuses, right? Like, I'm so busy. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
And it's like this is the time to approach that thing. Like, if you have that dusty old guitar and you want to brush it off and give it a ripper magoo, then I'd like to see your best and post it on Fit Club. Let's see how people trying to play, right?
Yeah,
like,
put it out there.
Put it out there, like, and whatever. If you get on YouTube, like,
Yeah.
if you're horrible, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, that's the other thing. Like, who cares what people think?
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
just go do it. Like my dad wears jean on jean every day.
Denim on denim.
He doesn't care, right? He wears like Sturgis 2006 hat with flames on it, right? Like
He's the Tiger King.
yeah, exactly.
Polish king.
Exactly. But it's just like, who cares what people think? Go do it. You want to do it? Go do it,
Yeah.
right? Like, go do that dance, sing the song, play the guitar.
A good indicator is TikTok. I mean, you obviously watch TikTok.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can see all the people that are my age now. So I'm 10 years older than you that are getting onto TikTok, and they don't know what they're doing, and the kids in the background are just shaking their head like you should not be on here. But it's a good indication that people are bored and they should be trying to do something different. So you can see they're getting on
It's a
TikTok.
great way to sync TikTok too, right? Like, because that's how Facebook, loses popularity, and Instagram, like, once everyone starts adopting, it's not cool anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of our members, too, are adopting this new way because we do Zoom calls. And so when we first started I started a Zoom. Hey, guys, we're doing a Zoom. Here's the link. We had 2 people on. The very first time, I was like, we're not doing Zoom. Remember that, Jerome? I'm like, we're not doing Zoom anymore. Nobody's doing it. And then all of a sudden, we did another one. And then there was 4. And then there was 8. And then today, I think there was like 20 people on there. Do you know what I mean? And this is only a matter of 3 or 4 days. So people are – and it's not like our clients are – 20-year-olds that are using Zoom. Like there wasn't one 20-year-old on that Zoom call.
People will adapt.
Yeah.
People will if you're forced to a situation of like, well, this is different, but let's I want to be a part of that. I want to be in that conversation, so they'll be forced into it.
That's what I love about the gym. More specifically, what I love about what we do here is that you being here, you're already in a different caliber of champions. That's the way I look at it. If you're able to come here, do work, I don't care how much you lift. I don't care that you can't finish everything. You're here, and you're putting the work in. Now, the other gyms, like even like my friends when we travel, we went to a big box gym in the States there, and they just get on the thing and do this and stand there, and I'm like, come on, this is not what we do back home. Let's pick it up, right? Like when you're here busting your butt with us for 30 minutes, I just put you on a different platform because I know that you're here. You're part of that 1% club that is making that change, right? And so, just proud of the members.
Well, it takes effort and it takes brass to come into a place like this, and put yourself out there because
Yeah.
you're amongst a
You
bunch
have
of
to.
people. But also, I think that's part of the camaraderie, right? Like it's that family environment. I've come in here many times, and you see people sweating and giving it,
Yeah.
and you see people supporting each other
Oh, yeah,
next
big
to each
time.
other. Like, you can do it. Come on.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad you see that.
Well, we
Yeah,
can't
and-
mute them. So part of the Zoom is they don't want to be muted so they can call each other out. And I'm like, really? That's what you guys want? Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Right?
But that's part of the fun. Like
It is.
they help each other. Like
Yeah.
a little bit of motivation, a little bit of screaming in the air,
Yeah.
even from your buddy next to you.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
sweating, right?
I
Like
love it.
that helped the situation. I've seen that a couple of times where like somebody's like, no, you can do it, a pat on the back or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's all people need because like your give up is just all pretty much mental, right? Like your body can do some amazing things.
Yeah.
You can see people do, if you can see a guy run subpar, 2 hours for a marathon, the body can do unreal things if pushed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, little outside motivation is usually what all people need. That's all they require, right? Instead of
And
being in
I
their
think
own
that's what
head.
you guys give, right? Like
Yeah.
they come in here because they want to be yelled at, and like not yelled at, but you know what I mean. Like they want
They
that.
do want to be yelled at.
Yeah,
a
they
little
want
bit.
that aggressive motivation and that push and that drive and the music blasting and everything going because it gets you in the zone, in the
Yeah.
mood, in the feel of it. Right?
Yeah, and nobody ever has that. We're all soft around each other. We're like, it's okay. You don't
Yeah.
have to do this.
Yeah.
I'll drive you. Don't walk. Like
Yeah.
to make everything as convenient and easy.
Yeah.
Whereas when you come in here, we don't make anything easy for you. You work for everything. You like if you want a heavier weight, go get it and bring it over there. I'm not even doing this for you. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And that's what people. I feel we need it, but for some reason we don't put it out there that that's in fact what we want. But
But
we do need it.
I do think you guys do make things easier for people on the fact of like the problem with going to the gym is like you're ridiculed and you're like you feel like you're ridiculed, right? You're staring at these machines. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Here you're gonna come in and you know what, Rick's gonna help me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then and RJ is going to help me, and I'm going to get to my goal a little
Yeah.
bit faster. Because as much as you guys are, screaming and yelling, getting people going, you're helping them,
Oh, of
right?
course,
You're
yeah.
getting them to their goal because, like, maybe they weren't sure on how to use the calf raise machine. The first time I ever used the calf raise machine, I faced the wrong direction, right? And I was like looking out to people. I'm like, why is everyone staring at me?
Yeah.
Right? I was at the University of Manitoba, going like, oh yeah, I guess. Then I looked at the little sign, and okay, I did it incorrectly.
And what's worse now, somebody's going to get that on Instagram.
Oh yeah, exactly. Right.
Nobody came up and told you though.
No
No,
one told
eh?
me. And I kind of figured it out after because I saw like a really big, muscular dude do it, and he was facing the other way. I'm like, that makes sense because otherwise you're just staring at people.
Yeah. Do you really
We
think?
need your banner.
Yeah, I got a banner. I'll get you a banner
Yeah.
for sure.
Do you really think that there's a lot of judgment in gyms? I know every gym likes to say no judgment, judgment-free zone. I personally feel that if you're in the gym, I don't judge. I would judge you if you weren't in the gym. Like if you're doing some kind of a bad habit and maybe you're extremely overweight, I'd probably judge you. But if I see you, that same person in the gym doing something about it, I would never judge
Never.
anybody. In fact, I have
Never.
nothing but respect. So
Yeah.
I don't know why this message it gets put out there or why it's in everybody's head that one of the main reasons they won't come into a facility is because they don't want to be judged, and that's why they want to do this one-on-one. They certainly don't want to group training, and I don't know why we have that in our mind.
Oh, it's
that
the
people
age of
do.
Instagram, social media. Everyone thinks it's about themselves, when in truth, really, no one cares about you.
Yeah,
Nobody
Right?
cares.
Like nobody
Yeah.
cares.
I agree.
I
I
think
agree completely.
I don't think I've ever gone into a gym and judged anybody by anything, right? So like I don't think anybody cares. Everyone's just doing their own thing, and I think it's that self thought of like, oh, someone's looking at me. No, they're not.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, maybe there might be one creepy dude or whatever, right? Like, 'cause there's always that one guy
With
in
the
gym
short shorts.
with the
Yeah.
short shorts. How short are your shorts, Rick? There.
Yeah.
Anyway,
A lot of leg here.
crawling up.
lot of
Yeah.
leg. They keep
Crawling up
crawling
on
up here. What's
Bro,
going
we
on?
gotta zoom in on that.
Yeah, I get a zoom on. But no, I think what it is like stop thinking and caring what other people think.
Yeah.
And just do your thing.
Do your thing.
Do your thing.
That's a good point. Like whenever I'm coaching and I'm watching, so you're always watching people, and I'll watch somebody's face because that's a good indication of me.
yeah.
Are they doing? Are they happy? Are they excited? Are they really concentrating? Are they about to pass out? And the eyes are everything, right? And what I've noticed is that nobody is looking around at like that girl and being like,
no,
she's
who
not
cares?
working hard enough. Man,
Yeah.
they are just trying to stay alive.
Everyone's
They're
just trying to stay alive.
They're just so focused on the next thing, and then where do I got to go from here?
Yeah.
Nobody's looking at you.
I
So
think
if-
that's the thing too, is when the judgment kicks in is when you have too much time. So at a typical gym with the typical person, they'll do a workout and then they'll rest and they're staring.
One
at,
set, 6
what
minute
is
rest.
that guy
yeah.
wearing? What is that guy doing? It's just, if you have too much time.
Totally true.
Whereas here it's like, okay, where do I got to go next?
Yeah.
Right. And which weights am I going to do? And that's it. And
So
you
it's
just focus.
so it's an actual workout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what it is because you see it all the time. Like boom, crank out put on a heavy weight you can handle, crank out 6 reps or 10 reps, and then sit there for 20 minutes and do the next rep. And all you're doing is on your phone and, you know, looking at the people and all kind of stuff. Like, that's not a workout. That's you're recreationally moving weight around. There's a big difference between building muscle and moving weights. So a lot of people go to the gym and they move weights around. That's great. But are you actually building any muscle? Are you actually putting the time and the effort and the exertion possible to get the result that you want? And a lot of people don't, right? And I think here, there's no bullshit, right? Like, it's like you jump in and you get the workout in, boom, and you're gone.
Yeah. And, you know, and right from the time you walk in. So the second you walk in, we make you check in, you change, and then you're waiting for something to happen. Usually people are here like 2 minutes before, so there's not a lot of waiting. There's not a lot of thinking about it. But that, what I feel is the best part, as opposed to, say, a big box gym where you walk in and then people are looking at you, and then you go to the change room across the gym, and then you come all the way back across the gym again. You spend a lot of time moving and getting to places, but not actually working out. Whereas here, the second you roll in and the second you change, we're probably already calling you out. We're probably starting to make you do warm-ups. Immediately after that, you're quiet watching us. Then you're into the workout. 30 minutes later, you don't even know what the hell just happened to you, but you're back in your car, completely sweating, going home. So, just to, I guess, reiterate, when it comes down to a place like this, there is no judgment because there's just no time for judgment.
No, there's no time for judgment.
It boils down to,
So I want to finish off with you're a pretty positive guy, uplifting guy. Earlier, you said it's about looking at and being grateful for the day. So, what is your new normal? What is your new day look like?
My day's pretty wild because it's it bumps between like doing stuff for Gorilla Jack and Baltic Brothers because we're busy helping make hand sanitizer for like frontline workers and police and paramedics and all that kind of stuff. So that's a big push right now to help as much as we can. So it's, if you can work your day where you do some good and help, that's the ideal. So I wake up in the morning, you know, try to get a good basic workout in. So, you know, push-ups, squats, all that kind of stuff. I do some iron crosses, which is like just sitting on your knees, going backwards, that kind of stuff. And I just keep doing that. I do a lot of stretching, yoga. Like, this is the first time I've actually had time to do my yoga, right? Where it's like I've actually stretched out my hips for the first time and I'm more pliable. I'm not just this giant ogre anymore, right? And that's the biggest.
I feel like that's key.
That's
like,
huge.
I'm all about that. Yesterday I did a whole foot and ankle mobility, and I was like, Neri, how awesome was that? She's like, I don't like it. I just want to work out. I'm like, oh God. Does anybody else guys, I actually want to know, do you guys want me to continue with the mobility stuff? Because when these guys work out with me, we did 4 minutes of mobility before we did a 3-minute, like, typical Fit Club warm up, right? Like, I'm like, no, let's get mobile, let's get limber. And I'm most proud of that right now in my phase of my career, right?
Well, I'll tell you right now, even Polish folk dancing, right? Like, the difference
you gotta have it.
Absolutely. Like, the difference between even a couple years ago, like, I'm not as mobile as I used to be, right? Because I've tightened up hips and all that kind of stuff. So that's my goal. Really work on stretching out my hips and all that kind of stuff and get that same flexibility. Because, like, before I used to be able to, like, jump like nobody's business, and it affects everything. Like, so if you don't think that mobility doesn't affect you, it absolutely does. Because it is kind of crippling in the fact of, like, you don't jump as high, you don't move as fast, you're not as mobile, right? So if you
there's no reason to not maintain the stuff that you had when you were 20. Yeah, you get older, you get more tired and this and that, but if you maintain it throughout the rest of your life,
I think it's the bullshit you sell yourself, right? Like, you say, oh, I'm just older, like, just things are creaking.
Right there, you hit a number. Wait till you hit 40. You're supposed to just kind of lie there and die at that point.
So exactly. But I don't think that's the case. Like, you look at people like yourself and, like, wow, you can be super mobile.
That's the number one focus now for me, and that's the advice that I give to anybody who's a little bit older, I guess, if you want to use the number 40, just because everybody seems to, is focus on the midsection, your core strength, and your mobility. Learn how to get your knees up to your elbows. You know, like, if you can do that, in my opinion, you're done everything. You don't have to bench press the 150s anymore. No, like, you don't need that anymore.
Yeah, my uncle's 96 years old, right? He walks for half an hour a day, right? He does some mobility stretching. Like, he eats the same basic food every day. Keeps it very simple. And, like, that guy, his whole idea and concept of it is never stop moving. Because if you stop, the oil starts getting old, right?
That's awesome. Like, do you have any more questions for him with respect
Mimi
to...
says once the music gets going, she's dialed in. If you've ever trained Mimi, she's always dancing. She's always going. So
you got it.
A lot of fun.
Hey, Barry, appreciate you coming by here.
Thanks for having us.
So real quick, we're going to support those who support us. Baltic Brothers, you can buy that at the LC now.
Manitoba Liquor Marts, most of the LCs got them,
And, of course, Gorilla Jack, no S at the end. Gorilla Jack, they're over on Main Street. What's the address
1665 Main Street.
Oh, you even got to
follow them on Instagram. They have some fun videos.
Yeah, they do. Actually, make sure you do that. And you're on TikTok now?
Yeah, we've posted one.
Awesome. All right, we're going to do it out. Barry, stop looking at my short shorts. Dance it out, buddy. Yeah. I know I can feel